Hello there, and welcome to this video all about the Empire. For a change, first off, I'll just address the beard. I was trimming my beard today, and I forgot to put the guard on and went down the side of one side, so I thought I'm going to have to get rid of all of it now. So the beard is gone, totally accidentally, but never mind. So let's have a look at the Empire of Man. They've got some cool, interesting. So what is the Empire? So the old world it's pretty much all about the Empire, to be honest, but it's set before the Empire was united. I think it was Karl Franz that united the Empire, but under the Elector Counts regime. So you've still got essentially a load of tribes who are culturally similar. That's very loose, I don't know why, but you've got a series of tribes who are culturally similar, but so you got a lot of choice. It's a bit like, well, it's not like the Vampire Counts, but it's a bit like the Vampire Counts in that there is so much choice. You can really spec out your army however you want, really. There's no minimums on anything. So anyway, you've got your normal up to half characters, up to half special, up to a quarter rare, at least a quarter core. Mercenaries up to 20%, although they're not named, so we don't know what the mercenaries are going to be. And then allies are there. However, like I've said in other videos, quite a common tournament comp. Comp is, I don't know what comp's short for, like competition rules maybe, but a common tournament comp is up to 3 of any one particular unit, in addition to these restrictions, and also no allies. So if you're building for competitive play, or if you're wanting your list to be a bit more balanced, then probably no allies, unless you're doing something super characterful. So for instance, the forces of the Empire that run along Marienburg, which is the sort of river to the bottom left of the map, they're probably going to be, quite heavily allied with all of these factions, actually, because there's dwarves in that mountain range in between the Empire and Bretonnia. There's obviously the Kingdom of Bretonnia with, I don't know who's in charge, but anyway, Louan-Léoncourt's capital is right in the north. And obviously there's dwarves in that mountain range and wood elves just the other side. So, yeah. The interesting thing actually as well is if you look at the old world map, the cool thing about it is that Nuln appears, Nuln is like my favourite. It's like cannons and artillery and stuff. But Nuln appears to be its own city-state. Let's see if I can find the map, because it's quite interesting how they've cut up the Empire. This isn't really talking about list building, list writing. Oh, for some reason the internet's decided it can't be asked today. Right, we'll go back to that later. Anyway, so Battle Standard Bearer is your captain of the Empire. That's your only option. Here they are, captain of the Empire. So the limits are you're allowed a general of the Empire or a grandmaster per 1,000 points. So in a 2k list you can have 2 grandmasters, 2 generals, or 1 of each. There's a similar limit on Lectors of Sigmar and High Priests of Ulrich. Sigmar and Ulrich are like the 2 main gods. Ulrich is like more northern and a bit more kind of sorry, a weird pop-up just came up. A bit more kind of wolfy and Norse-ish, and then Sigmar is more I suppose Holy Roman Emperor sort of themed, and you're allowed a War Altar 1 in your entire army taken as a mount for Elector. War Altars are pretty good, so when we get to them, you're allowed a unit of Inner Circle Knights per 1,000 points. That's plenty. You're probably going to only want one unit in your entire army, unless you've gone for like a Grandmaster style, Reichsguard, full send cavalry list. And the Inner Circle Knight models were wicked. I don't know how wicked they are now, but they were pretty cool. You're allowed, weirdly, you're allowed 1 unit of Inner Circle Knights and unlimited Demigryph Knights, which to me is a bit odd. And you're allowed 0 to 3 from the following per 1,000 points. So in a 2k list, you could only have 3 great cannon. So basically, with a 2k list, if you're going a bit more competitive, you're allowed 3 great cannon and 3 mortars, and then you're allowed 2 hellblasters, or 1 hellblaster, or 2 hellblasters and 2 hellstorm rocket batteries in a 2k list. I think I might actually write a list at the end of this, see how much artillery I could pack into. Oh, and you definitely want a steam tank because they're amazing. Anyway, before I get distracted, let's go to the special rules first, because that gives you the flavour of the army. I've gone too far as usual, and then we'll come back and have a look at the units. So let's do the weapons first because they're here. So grenade launching blunderbuss, that's something that you see on Outriders, I think. Good range, good strength, excellent AP, causes multiple hits if you hit. However, it's cumbersome and ponderous, which means you can't use it for stand and shoot, I think is what ponderous means. And cumbersome means you get a -2 for moving and shooting, which I think Outriders have move and shoot anyway, or they have quick shot anyway, so we'll get to the rules anyway when we get there. A Hochland long rifle, that's like a sniper rifle. A model can target a specific model within its target unit, such as a champion or a character. It's set so there's a magic item called the Ruby Ring of Ruin, right? Let's see if we can find it. Ruby Ring. There we go. Ruby Ring of Ruin can cost a fireball special. Was a bound spell power level 2. That says Ruby Fireball. Here we go. Target enemy unit suffers 2d6 strength or hits each of them. So because of this, if you get a Hochland long rifle, you can potentially use your Hochland long rifle to cast the fireball into the unit champion or a character. Can target a specific model. Now, how that interacts with the target enemy unit, I don't know. This comes up with the Wood Elves as well, because because the fireball says target enemy unit, doesn't it? But a unit can be a character. Anyway, it's an interesting rules interaction that I think will probably be gotten rid of. Anyway, pigeon bombs. These are cool. So you roll a d6 and something happens. Sometimes stuff dies, and sometimes the pigeon returns to its handler and blows up in his hands. So it's pretty cool. Quite characterful, but not very good, not very reliable. Where's the special rules? Do they not have any? They must have special rules. Have I misread? Have I? What? I don't. Maybe. No, they don't have any special rules. There's nothing special about the Empire. Okay, that surprises me. I thought there'd be something somewhere. Actually, saying that, I don't know why there would be. Like, it's been a while since I've read this, to be honest, so apologies if I miss anything. So yeah, you've got commanders of the Empire, that's your generals, captains, so that's your battle standard bearer. You might not take a general because your great Grand Marshal's better. However, the commander can get a better mount, like your Grand Master, wherever he is. Yeah, your Grand Master or Chapter Master, they can only take Barded Warhorse, Pegasus, and Demigriff. So they can't take anything that's like, they can't take a Griffin basically. So I think they don't have the Imperial Dragon anymore, which is a bit of a shame because I quite liked an Imperial Dragon. You can take an Imperial Griffin, but that's a general of the Empire only. You can take a Griffin, so an Imperial Griffin is just a better version of a Griffin, basically. You can take Pegasus and stuff, but there's no Imperial Dragon anymore, which is a bit of a shame because I quite like them. Cool. I mean, I'd be in favour of like just an Imperial Dragon as like a standalone monster. I think that'd be pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, Commanders of the Empire, they're very flexible. You can give them loads and loads of different types of weapons. They can have a lance and a brace of pistols and a shield and full plate armour. So they can just be decked out with like a lance or like a halberd or a great weapon and then a couple of pistols. And Yeah, they're cool. They've also got hold the line, so the character and enemy unit automatically pass any panic tests. That's a pretty good ability, considering how cheap they are. You might see people spamming 45-point captains just for that, to stick in their core units to stop them from panicking off. Because you just want to reduce the chances of, you can eliminate the chances of that happening. Empire Wizards are alright, they're pretty weak. The Wizard Lord's got toughness 4, which is pretty good. But they're not, they don't really have much by way of options. They're just wizards. They've not been trained by Techless yet, so they're a bit kind of rubbish in terms of, like, they don't really have any special rules or reliability or anything. However, they do have, I think, the widest amount of spell laws that they can tap into, so that's pretty good. So you could take a lot of Master Mages just to essentially get all the signature spells, because if you think 6 of them, that's 360 points. You've then got your Grandmaster, and these are the combat guys. Weapon skill 6 is not the best, but it's okay. 4 attacks. Again, they're not amazing, but they are quite cheap for what they are. They're just men, basically. There's nothing special about men, really. Bretonnia is different, because they're kind of, don't tell them, but they're kind of empowered by an elf, but shh. Like, Bretonian steeds are basically elven steeds bred with normal steeds, so there's a bit of interbreeding between, like, elves and Bretonians are, in the lore, kind of like a quarter elves. They're not half elves, but they're kind of like a quarter elves, because there's a lot of interbreeding between the elves and the Bretonians. But not so in the Empire, quite the opposite, actually. The Empire are quite xenophobic. Well, some areas of the Empire are fairly xenophobic. Anyway, so they've got counter charge, which is great, because knightly, if your commander doesn't have counter charge and you put them in a unit with counter charge, you lose it. So for instance, like a Chaos Lord does not have counter charge. So if you put a Chaos Lord on a Barded Steed and put it in Chosen, the Chosen unit lose the counter charge ability, which is rubbish. So I hope they give the counter charge ability to the Barded Chaos Steed soon, so that can be rectified, because I would definitely want that. Anyway, I'd rather have a Lord and 4 Chosen around them than a Lord on a Manticore, for instance, because I think it's a bit easier to control and actually has a better damage output and a bit more reliability, but whatever. They've got the Master of Battle rule, so if they join Knights, that unit gets immune to psychology, so that's even better than ignores panic. So it ignores fear and whatever. Then you got Witch Hunters. The Witch Hunters are pretty cool. When do you choose them? So when you write your list, you suffer not the witch, the revenant, the mutant, or the demon to live. I mean, this is sort of situational, because you need to have those, if you're playing an undead army and you take a witch hunter with suffer not the revenant to live, I'd rather this be like something that they choose at the start of the game, because this makes them because it's when you write your list, it's not good for tournament list building. Or if you're going into like for instance, next Wednesday we're doing a slow grow at my local club, so we're starting off with 750 points. I wouldn't take a witch hunter, because I don't know who my opponent's going to be, so this could be useless. And other than this, yeah, they've got immune psychology, and Killing Blow is amazing as an ability, but they've only got 2 attacks, so even if you give them an additional hand weapon, the chances of them actually getting that Killing Blow off are fairly limited, to be honest. And they can be mounted, so you can put them on a steed. You can't give them... No, she's got a crossbow, hasn't she? Yeah, I'm just thinking of the two. What are the names? Galen and Doralia Van Denst from the Age of Sigmar range. I've got those models, and I've been wanting to paint them up for ages, so I could take both of them. And I suppose if you take a number of witch hunters with a number of these rules, like the mutant, you can take a brace of pistols, and so Doralia's got a crossbow, Galen's got a brace of pistols. Yeah, you could give them both an additional hand weapon, because on the model they got loads of stuff all over them, so Yeah, I suppose there is possibly a use for them, but like, and they can take magic items, so you can take stuff that buffs units, for instance. So could be good. Warrior priests they're pretty good in combat. They do have like prayers, so so these are warrior priests of Sigmar can have a go at a prayer by taking a leadership test. So unlike AOS, where it's just a 1d6 and you got to roll normally a 4 up, sometimes a 3 up, sometimes a 5 up, this one you just got to take a leadership test at their leadership. I think it probably says at their, using their own leadership, so you can't use inspiring presence from the general. So you can either give this model its mount and a single friendly unit within its command range. When the prayer is chanted, you must tell your opponent which unit is affected. Yeah, obviously. Why does that need writing? Anyway, so you can re-roll any rolls to hit or wound of a natural 1. That's pretty good if you're about to make a charge with a unit of knights. The weird thing is, like, Elector doesn't get... I suppose they're a +1 leadership, so they're slightly more likely to get this off, but... again... during the command... So, Soulfire is a bit rubbish, because you've got to be in base-to-base contact in your command phase. That's not tremendously likely. But, you know, whatever. 5 at ward, that's awesome. Like, you're probably going to see a few priests knocking about just for the 5 at ward, because that's just brilliant. Like, you know, you can pick a unit. It doesn't have to be within the unit. It can just, like, sit behind your army and, like, give a 5 at ward to your big block of halberdiers, which is just awesome. Yeah, so they're pretty cool. And you can put it on a war altar. Actually, let's look at the war altar now, because we're talking about priests, so we might as well talk about the thing that they can go on and what makes them super cool. Quite expensive, you know, because your Lector was like 100, so that's about 250 points. However, it gives them a 4-up armor save, which is pretty good. They get first charge, so on their first charge they can knock out ranks. It's got a movement 7, so it's pretty quick. It doesn't have swift stride, which is something to keep an eye on. It does do impact hits, because it's a heavy chariot. They're strength 5 AP 2. It's stubborn, so the first time it loses a combat, it can choose not to take a leadership test and just fall back in good order. And then it's got some cool special rules. So friendly units automatically pass fear and can re-roll failed panic. That's pretty good. Command range of the Lector is increased from 8 to 12 inches, but if the Lector's the general, then it has a command range of 18 as normal, and witches within command range, which again could be 18, suffer a -2 modifier to their casting rolls. That's better than the Drain Magic spell that the High Elves have, because the Drain Magic spell increases the casting roll required by 2. So if you've got a 9+ spell, you then, under Drain Magic, you then need 11 to cast it, which means you still need to roll boxcast to dispel it. With this, right, if you rolled an 11, you'd actually end up technically rolling a 9, which makes it way more easy to dispel. So that's pretty good. Considering these are magic resistance 2 as well, you know, it's not got pushed along though, so it can't go in a unit, which is a bit annoying, but you know, whatevs. So that's a pretty good upgrade to Elector, if that's the way you want to go. I get the sense though with Empire, you just want a lot of little heroes because they all do something pretty cool. And then you got Warrior Priest of Ulrich. They have prayers similarly. So which one's the cool one? Makes a charge, so plus D3 to charges is okay, but it doesn't increase the maximum charge range, so it's still probably going to be a 9. So that's all right, but because it doesn't apply to the maximum charge range, stuff with swift stride not so good, because they're probably already rolling a 9, like statistically. Enemy model must re-roll to hit rolls of a natural 6. Now, I've tried a bit of chaos with Nurgle, and this is less good than it looks. It's not really had much of an impact yet, to be fair, but, you know, it's less good than it looks. And then Wrath of Winter this is pretty good actually. Multiple wounds 2 if you're going up against like ogres or something like that. The ability to just pop that, and remember these are flexible, so you can pick one. So if you desperately need to make a charge, you know, and you don't want a bad roll to affect it, Battle Howl's useful. Winter's Chill, you know, that's a unit that it's joined. That it has joined during the combat phase. Okay, so that's kind of a bit more flexible. So you could have like a priest on a steed or whatever joining a unit after praying successfully. So that's alright. Then you got engineers who once per turn, friendly Empire War Machine can either use his model ballistic skill or reroll a single artillery dice. Yeah, I don't. An Empire War Machine. Okay, so using the model's ballistic skill, that means for indirect fire. So if you like indirect firing a mortar, you can use BS4 to reduce the amount it scatters by. Or do they have anything else that needs to roll to hit? Yeah, they do, don't they? Hellblaster guns. So you can make a Hellblaster ballistic skill 4. Reroll a single artillery dice is way more useful though, especially if you've got lots of artillery. Like, I'd probably want a Hochland long rifle on it. Pigeon bombs are a waste of... They're cool, they're interesting and funny, but they're not very good. So you definitely want a Hochland long rifle, because that's amazing. Because, you know, you got a chance of just picking out champions from units and just, like, being a general pain in the backside, as well as making lots of stuff BS4 or re-rolling artillery dice. If I had a war engine heavy list, I'd definitely take a few engineers, fire everything that uses artillery dice to begin with, and then do your Hellblasters, just so that you know that you can use the BS, because re-rolling artillery dice to prevent misfires is amazing. Then you got mounts. There's no like mechanical steed for the oh no, they can't be mounted at all, can they? No, okay, there's no mechanical steed, sadly. That's gone. Demigryphs are demigryphs, Pegasus are Pegasus. Then you got Empire State Troops. These are regimental units and detachments. So the rule around detachments and regimental units is a regimental unit is a big unit, and detachments are up to half the size of the big unit. Detachments are allowed to break the minimum unit size. Now, if you do take a regimental unit and 2 detachments of Empire State Troops, that's your 3 units already taken up for like tournament purposes. So if you're okay doing that, then fine. You can take veterans, which makes them ballistic skill 4 for an extra 2 points. I mean, that's probably worth it, because any unit of veterans can be drilled, so they go up to 8 points. And drilled is amazing, because essentially you can form a formation that's longer than it is deep at the start of the battle, make a triple march move, okay, because you're in marching column, so your march moves you up to triple, and then the next turn you get a free reform before you move, which means if you've got somebody in line of sight, you can declare a charge, reform to fighting formation, which is wider than it is deep, and then charge like that. And also when you reform, you get a free pivot, so that reduces your charge distance as well. So drilled is absolutely fantastic. So you probably want to make them veteran if you're going to go with halberds and go offensive. Actually, if you've got thrusting spears, you kind of want to get charged. So thrusting spears makes them a bit more defensive. What you'll see is, what I think you'll see anyway, is you'll see some veteran state troops. So you'll see some normal state troopers with thrusting spears, because they want to get charged and the extra weapon skill isn't really helpful in that instance. It's just a big lump of bodies to take up space. Then you'll see a load of veterans with halberds, probably without drilled, as like a regimental unit to go down the side of the state. So essentially, when somebody charges the big block of spears, the veterans can then flank the unit that's then counter. So they can then charge. Sorry, not counter charge, but they can then declare a charge after you've moved your state troops, right? So then the regimental unit can then do a charge, and then you'll see another unit of like state missile troops as like the other detachment, which they've got here. And that detachment can then Actually, I've just thought of something. Yeah. Sorry, I just need to quickly have a look at something. Regimental, creating a detachment. Yeah, what can it do? Detachment, blah, 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 blah. Supporting actions, supporting any detachments made like a... The end of the charge means subphase. Ooh. So, actually, what you could... So, I don't know whether this would be any good. It's just happened in my head. But what you could, what you could have is like, I don't know, a unit of like crossbows as like the big unit, say with like 20 in. Somebody charges them, you flee, and then with your regiments, you can, which might be a couple of little units of halberdiers, you could then charge in those couple of units of halberdiers. And they're close order, so you get +2 to your combat, and then your banner and does, because there's 2 of them, so you get +1 for each close order unit. And the other thing is veteran state troops have the veteran special rule, which means they get to re-roll all psychology tests, which is fantastic. So for an extra 2, actually they're probably just worth the extra 2 points just for the veteran rule. Depends, I suppose, like if you've got a unit of 40, that's like 200, and that's like 280, so it's an extra 80 points. I mean, maybe not, I don't know. I suppose it depends what you want. You got free company militia as well, which are like just randomly armed, basically. They used to skirmish, didn't they? They don't anymore. They're okay. I don't really see the case for them, to be honest, because they're impetuous. Levies means I think, if I remember rightly, it means everybody ignores them for like panic purposes. Cannot use inspiring presence, nor hold it, so they can't use the general's leadership. They can't re-roll break tests if they're in range of. Therefore, yeah, anybody who's not levies doesn't take a panic test whenever any unit of levies breaks and just breaks and flees from combat. So they do still take panic tests if they flee from shooting. Whatever. Then you got Empire Archers, which are also a detachment. They're like they're like state missile troops, but they're just bows. I don't know why. Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean the 0 to 3 thing. Units thing wasn't a thing for, so yeah, I suppose you could have 3 detachments where you've got like 3 units of state troops as the regimental unit, and then a unit of missile troops as a detachment, and a unit of archers as the other detachment, maybe. Although I don't know why you'd want that wouldn't be very good, because like most tournaments are going to be about 2,000 points, so like, you know, you're not going to have all that in 2,000 points. Great swords, you might see them. They are quite expensive though for toughness 3. They do have full plate armor, which means they're pretty decent in combat, but great weapons means they strike last, so they're striking initiative 1. They can take veteran and drilled, but then they're the same cost as chaos warriors. And then like, really, is this worth, you know, the same as a chaos warrior? Probably not. I mean, they do hit a bit harder, but I don't know. I suppose if you give them a decent magic banner, they can be alright, but like, I'm not sold. Flagellants are wicked. They're very expensive though for what they are. I mean, I think they're unbreakable. Yeah, so they're unbreakable. They hate all enemies, so they get to reroll all their hits in the first round of combat. They've got fanatical zeal, so that means they can only be joined by priests of Sigmar. But the priests then become unbreakable if the character blah 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 blah. They also have a 6 at ward against mundane attacks and a 5 at ward against magical attacks with against mundane attacks with a strength 5 or higher. So they don't get feel no pain against magical attacks. Huh. Weird. I thought they would have had a better save against magical attacks. I mean, is that ward really... I mean, they basically get the blessing of the lady, effectively. But except the blessing does apply to magical attacks, doesn't it? How odd. Yeah, so, I mean, that's okay, I suppose. Then you got Pistoliers. Pistoliers are pretty cool. I like Pistoliers. They're like cavalry. They've got fast cavalry. They've got fire and flee. They've got open order. They don't have move and shoot, though. So, so that means they can move normally 8 inches. Because they're open order, they then get a free pivot. Then they got skirmishes as well, but you'd probably just use open order because it's sort of a bit more. Well, it's not really more flexible, is it? I don't know about that actually. Yeah, that's all a bit weird. They've got countercharge and impetuous. I suppose with open order, you can, if you've made a march with fast cavalry. So fast cavalry allows you. So basically, open order. If you make a move, you get a free pivot at the end of your move. I think up to 90 degrees. If you're fast cavalry, you can march and still make a free pivot. Now, because they're impetuous, you might want to march and then just pivot them away, so you're not forced to charge next turn if somebody gets within charge range. So you can sort of pivot them and say, "Look over there, chaps," and they go, "What?" So they don't accidentally then charge into a unit's, your enemy's pikes. And then die horribly because they've got heavy armor, which is pretty good. So they've got a 5-up save, which is pretty good for light cavalry. But like other than that, they're quite flaky. So yes, can they have barding? No, they can have vanguard though, which means they get a free move. Not march, they get a free move at the start of the battle. So that's after deployment. You got outriders, which are a bit like pistoliers, but more heavily armed. So they've got heavy armor. Still, sorry, not armed. So they get repeater handgun, and they can go back to the brace of pistols. Do they have Motley Horde? No. A sharpshooter may replace. They don't have Motley Horde. Motley Crew or whatever it's called. So there's a universal special rule called Motley something or other, Motley Crew, Motley Horde, and what that means is the models are all allowed to have different weapons. It looks like, because that wording makes it look like a single outrider. Idiot! It says a sharpshooter, not reading it. So a sharpshooter can have a different weapon. That's normal because they're a character in a unit. So champions are characters in a unit. The light cavalry with a unit strength of 4, which is interesting. Maybe there's an MSU build there for taking like loads of grenade launching blunderbusses. And they are fast cavalry. They got fire and flee, which is pretty good. They're open order skirmishers. They lose impetuous, and they get vanguard for free. So they're pretty cool. I think they're better than pistoliers now, aren't they? They're only 3 more points. But actually, they got vanguard anyway. So like these guys have got. They're 18 points if they want vanguard. These are just an extra point then, basically. And then they have repeater handguns instead of double pistols. And repeater handguns are arguably better. Because, I think. Let's just check the weapons. I think repeater handguns and twin pistols are more or less the same. It's just longer range, isn't it? Brace of pistols, repeater handguns. Here we go. So the armor bane, multiple shots, 3 repeater handguns. Better. Ponderous, not quick shot. Quick shot gives you march and shoot, doesn't it? Yeah. Repeater handguns. Yeah. Oh, I don't know actually. Brace of pistols. Looks. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure actually. And brace of pistols gives you an extra attack in combat as well. So pistoliers are better in combat because they get to use their pistols basically because you can flip your pistol around and club people with the end. So yeah, I'm not sure actually, and they are ponderous, which yeah, that's not helpful. Ponderous, blah blah blah. Ponderous, -2 for moving shoot rather than -1. So it's difficult, isn't it? Actually, no, because if these are -2, they've already got ballistic skill 4 though, haven't they? Whereas I suppose with brace of pistols, they've got quick shot, so you move and shoot, so you're hitting on 4s. They don't have they They've just got quick shot. Okay, so you can move these 8 inches, shoot your pistols, no penalty. And because you've got a brace of pistols, you just -1 to hit for the multiple shots. Right, so they're hitting on 5s with 2 shots at range 12. These guys are moving 8 and then shooting 3 shots at ponderous is -2, and so it's 3s, 5s, and multiple shots 6s. So 3 shots at 6s or 2 shots at 5s. Yeah, I think bracer pistols are better. Pistoliers are arguably slightly better. But anyway, then you got Empire Knights. They're just Empire Knights. They're exactly what you'd expect. There's nothing. I mean, 0 to 1 per 1,000 can take drilled, which is pretty good because you're probably not going to have all knights, even if you got like a really knight heavy army. You're probably not going to have. You might have blocks of 8, so you get a rank bonus basically with a charge. And because you've got first charge, 8 of them charging in is like 170, 180 points if you give them lances and stuff and drilled, which you probably want. And then your first charge, so you negate the enemy's ranks. So if you've got 1 rank and they don't kill any of you, you know, which they might not, because, you know, you got heavy armor shields, you know, and barding, so you got a 3-up save. Or you can take inner circle knights, which cost how much more? 8 more points for full plate armor. So these effectively come with a 2-up save as standard, which is great for 30 points. And they've got counter charge, drilled, blah 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 blah. So and also they can re-roll any hit rolls of 1 because they're so good. So inner circle knights are just absolutely fantastic. And remember, they're immune to psychology if you put your grandmaster in them, and they don't lose their counter charge if you put your grandmaster in them. So they're pretty cool, especially considering they got drilled. So again, 8 of them, that's only like 250 points. You could put a cheapish grandmaster with them. You got a 400 point like little powerhouse rocking around the battlefield. Again, with drilled, it means they can basically move 21 inches in marching column and then reform fully to form a fighting unit and then smash into somebody's flank next turn. So they're awesome. You got demigriff knights, which are tough as hell. They got 3, so they got heavy armor, shields, barding. They can replace. Sorry, well, I was just about to say they can't, but then I thought no, they are tough as hell because they can go full plate for an extra 5 points. Like, why wouldn't you? So you got 2-up save, monstrous cav. That's nasty. That's real nasty. Yeah, so they're absolutely fantastic. The demigriffs also have AP 2. Like, so even if they get charged, they're still taking 3 weapon skill 4, strength 5, AP 2 attacks, like per model. They're absolutely disgusting, and they have counter charge. So if you give them lances, they're always going to get to use it as long as they get charged in the front by cavalry or chariots or monsters, not by infantry. If you get charged in the front by infantry, you don't get to do a counter charge. But with a 7-inch move and swift stride, you really shouldn't be getting charged in the front by infantry. We talked about the war altar. Now my favourite bit, war machines. Steam tanks are they're very expensive with 265. However, they've got 10 wounds. They've got toughness 7. Like, chew on that. They've got a 3-up armor save. They're absolutely disgusting in terms of their survivability. They've got grinding wheels. So they've got stomp attacks that have an AP of 2. Like, but can't. Why is it a heavy chariot? Why not just call it a behemoth? Because it bloody well is. Anyway, so they got impact hits, which because it's a heavy chariot, do AP 2. So strength 6, AP 2 impact hits, and there's D6 plus 1 of them. Oh, they've got stomp attacks D3 plus 1. Again, strength 6, AP 2, apart from against behemoths. And they're not a normal chariot because low linear obstacles like walls, they just drive straight through because it weighs like 12 tons. In fact, probably more than that. Steam tank cannot march, however you can make a steam power roll, so it's only got a 4-inch move, but you can make it 4 plus 2d6, discard the lowest. If both dice roll the same result, discard either. Yeah. Temperamental though, if you roll a 1 on either of these power rolls or a charge roll, you can either say bang and lose a single wound, so you still do your move. Yeah, so if you roll double 1, then it goes bang and halts. If you roll a 1 on either a charge dice or your like steam power roll, just with one of the die, then you can either lose a single wound and still do your move as usual, or release the pressure and don't move. Either way, you've still got a steam cannon, which is like, it's a cannon. Like, you shoot it like a normal cannon, so you know, you do your bounce and all the rest. If you roll a misfire, it just takes a wound, so you don't roll on the misfire chart. It's the same as a normal cannon, but at slightly lower strength, and I think normal cannons are AP 3. And multiple wounds D3 is the same as a normal cannon. So the steam cannon is, to all intents and purposes, a cannon. Then you got this breath weapon, this steam gun, which is a strength 2 breath weapon, no armor saves, which is again fantastic. So, you know, all that, and also you can give the engineer commander a Hochland long rifle or some pigeon bombs. Actually, there's a case for pigeon bombs on steam tanks, because even if you roll a 1, it's not going to hurt it. Like, it's, you know, it's not going to hurt you. So, I mean, maybe like a few boxes of pigeons strapped to the outside of a steam tank would work. I don't know. It's pretty cool. I like the Hochland long rifles though, just for the ability to just snipe out characters and just take out champions, because it's just very annoying for your opponent. Okay, then you got some griffins. Imperial griffins basically have an extra wound and extra strength. They're just better versions for an extra 30 points. And you can give them 2 heads, which if you give them 2 heads, they get +1 attack. Yeah, and you got claw attacks, but for each head you have to make a serrated maw attack. Yeah, the serrated maw attacks are pretty good. Multiple wounds too. I said serrated maw. It's a beak. We had this discussion with eagles. They've got serrated maw as well. It's a beak. Great cannons are, you know, cannons. They're quite expensive cannons, to be honest. 125 points. You often see cannons being a bit cheaper than that. You can give them veteran, but, you know, why the hell would you want to re-roll all psychology tests on a cannon? Bit daft. I'm sure that's all veteran does, isn't it? Oh. Re-roll any failed psychology tests. Leadership tests, sorry. Yeah, and the break test is not a leadership test, of course. So, yeah, they're quite expensive for cannons, but, you know, I guess... Oh no, because it's a great cannon, isn't it? Because there is a difference between a cannon and a great cannon. Yeah. Right, let's go and have a look. Cannon, great cannon. Yeah, great cannons have a longer range. They have... Oh no, so a steam tank cannon is the same as a cannon. But a great cannon has strength 10, AP... Ah... Are Empire the only things that can take great cannons then? I think they are, aren't they? Because dwarves are only cannons. That's really interesting. So you got your big sort of 24 pounder, like massive. And then you got mortars, which are mortars, and they're not too expensive for mortars, to be honest. I suppose you might want to take the veteran because they've only got leadership 7. If somebody just declares a charge with a terror causing unit, they might flee, and if they flee, the thing's destroyed. So somebody's just destroyed your great cannon by causing it to flee. So possibly, maybe. It's a bit situational though. Then you got Hellblaster volley guns. Hellblaster volley guns are a bit like organ guns, but instead of rolling, so basically you roll 3 dice before making any rolls to hit, right? So if you don't have an artillery dice, right, it's basically a normal d6 times 2. If you roll a 6, that's a misfire, alright? So if you roll a 5, you've done 10 hits, or you do a bounce or whatever of 10 inches. So if a misfire is rolled on one of the artillery dice, -1 to hit. On 2 of the artillery dice is gone wrong, roll a misfire table. If you roll a misfire on 3 of the artillery dice, all the barrels fire simultaneously with Dever. So this is different to organ guns. because that bit's the same as an organ gun, but if you roll Devastate, so it fires 30 shots, which is the maximum, but is destroyed and immediately removed from play. So basically the whole thing just blows up, but it does a tremendous amount of shots. Now again, right, it's not got multiple shots, so if you've got an engineer nearby, this is why you want to do this like after your cannons, so after you've essentially negated the effect of your cannons or mortars rolling a misfire, because like you could re-roll the misfired dice if you get like a misfire, if you've got an engineer nearby, but also you just get like, you can turn it into ballistic skill 4, so it's range 24, which isn't great, but you know, strength 5, AP 1, armor bane 2 shots, amazing for 120 points. I love them. Hellstorms are like insane. So it launches yeah, so choose an enemy unit between its minimum and maximum range, so 48-inch range, pretty long range. Place D3 blast templates, so the central hull of each is over the unit. So it's not 3, it's not whatever, it fires D3 rockets, right? And you roll like a scatter for each one, so it's like, it can be like up to 3 stone throwers or just the one in a turn. And where's the weapons profile? Strength 3, AP 1. Yeah, I mean, that's not so good, is it? Because it's weaker than a normal stone. So a normal stone thrower is strength 4, AP 1, and then stone throwers have a thing for getting squished by the stone. They don't have, and these automatically miss. And they don't have indirect fire, do they? Over. Oh, no line of sight. So they do have indirect fire, but not there. They have it here. Yeah, minus a cruise ballistic skill. So basically, the scatter dice has like 4 arrows and then 2 hit symbols. The hit symbols have like a mini arrow on them. So if you fire indirectly, you've still got to scatter it, but you get to scatter it like the distance on the artillery dice less the ballistic skill. Yeah, I don't know that they're that good, actually. I mean, they're pretty long range, but like, I think mortars are better. I think I worked out statistically that mortars are better than stone throwers. Yeah, statistically mortars are better than stone throwers in general. And as these are like a poor version of a stone thrower with a massively increased chance of misfiring and blowing up and stuff, yeah, they're not very good. They're cool, like the models are ace, but you know, whatever. You can buy a rune fang, so the rune fangs have been made already, so they always wound on a 2-up, they're AP 2, and they give you initiative 10, so they're great, like absolutely fantastic, but it is 100 points, so you know. You got the Mace of Hellstorm, which, now there's a spell called Spectral Doppelganger. It allows you to do 2d6 at your weapon profile. You can take the Mace of Hellstorm and give it to one of your big wizards. You then get that big wizard, like a level 4 wizard, into combat. You then cast Spectral Doppelganger and do 2d6 strength 10, AP 5 hits, don't you have to roll to hit, with multiple wound d6. So your wizard then, because it negates this rule, because this means that you just do one attack. So you choose which the wielder will use at the start of each round of combat. So you say, I'm going to wield it double-handed. And then you cast Spectral Doppelganger that then picks that up and does 2d6 of them. And, you know, that will kill anything. Like Chaos Dragon, don't care. Chaos Dragon with all the wards and all the buffs, don't care. Like AP 5 means no armor save. I don't know why it's got, like... Why does it just say... no armor save? Oh, I suppose there are some magic armors that can't be modified, so they're always a 5-up. I forget which one it is, like glittering something or other. So Mace of Hellstorm's great for that, but I expect that to be FAQ'd like very quickly. Anything else that's pretty good? Dragon Bow's pretty good for 25 points. Considering your commander's a pretty good ballistic skill, that's not bad for a cheapy little item. Especially if you're going to put somebody in a unit to make it reroll panics. Like, having that might be quite useful. This is pretty good. Immune to Killing Blow is pretty good. I mean, don't give that to something that you're going to put on a monster, because monsters are immune to Killing Blow anyway. So, you know, whatever. But if you've got like a knightly commander that's on foot, actually, you give him a ward. He gets He gets immune to Killing Blow. That's pretty good. I mean, this one only if you haven't gone for the Amulet of Protection and you need like another talisman or whatever. The White Cloak, I think that'll be these sorts of things. 3+ ward against flaming, I think will be pretty useful because there's a lot of stuff that does flaming damage. So a 3-up ward might be a lot better than you think, and there's quite a few items that do this sort of 3-up or 2-up ward against flaming. I think I've seen a 2-up ward against flaming, although I could be making that up now. I don't know. Jade Amulet is immune to Killing Blow. Yeah, again. They actually permitted armor saves and regen against Killing Blow, so these are pretty useful. Sadly, there's nothing that makes you immune to Monster Slayer, though. Monster Slayer, so basically Killing Blow and Monster Slayer are the same in effect. If an opponent with that rule rolls a 6 to wound against you, no armor saves, no regen saves, you'll add ward saves, but if you fail that ward save, insta-dead. It's just amazing. Griffin Standard is fantastic for your big units because you get a rank bonus of 2 for extra rank behind the first. I'm not sure. Have you got anything that is a horde? I don't think I saw a horde. It would be state troops if anything. No. Actually, might they be horde? No, they can't take a magic weapon. Oh, they do have horde, but they can't take a magic banner. So the one unit that will be amazing on. It is amazing anyway, because like getting +6 to the start of combat with a unit of spearmen is pretty fantastic. 50 points is quite pricey, but it's basically, it's awesome. Laurels of Victory is pretty good as well. So if you got something on like a Royal Griffin, each unsaved wound is worth 2 to combat res rather than 1. That's pretty good. I wonder if that counts towards overkill. I don't know how that interacts with overkill, to be honest. Because actually, technically, there's only... In fact... Yeah, I'll just have a quick look at overkill. I don't know how that would interact with overkill. 1 point for excess wound. Unsaved. So unsaved wounds, I think this is the answer. Unsaved wounds are separate to overkill. So you get 2 for like the first wound on a champion, but then, yeah. Okay. Reroll the d6 for Swift Stride is great for 15 points. Yeah. They're a bit rubbish. That's a bit unreliable, and that's it. That's Empire. So let's see if the map's working again. Ho 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 ho. It's over here, and it should be down here. Here we go. Let me look at the map. Now, if you look here, look, see. Nuln. It's got its own little boundary around it, so its own little city-state. It's the smallest state in the world. Yeah, because like this is Reichland, which is under the command of Wilhelm III. It looks like. So the cult of Sigmar holds sway. They're called the Reichland Pretenders. Ludwig the 12th is the Grand Duke of Talabek. Warlocks, witches and secretive guilds, and they've got a problem with beastmen and orcs and goblins. Looks like in Reichland, there's a little problem with Beastmen there. Yeah, so this is where you might see like alliances with the Wood Elves. There's no dwarves in those hills. There's no dwarves in them there hills. There's loads of orcs around here. But there, you might see some alliances going on there if you're doing something a bit more narrative. It's Sudenland, is it? Southland. How inventive. Oh, you can't click on that shield. There's no thing there. Yeah, Karaknorn, but that means greenskins. So there's a load of greenskins. There's a problem there. Sommer from Wissenland. You can't click on him. Averland. You've got Krupp, the halfling in Mootland. Sylvania still has vampires there. That's the Drakvald clan. So the von Carsteins aren't. I'm not sure whether the von Carsteins are up yet. Stierland. There's nothing there. Margreta, ruled by Elspeth Margreta. It's not a very Germanic name, is it? And then can't click on that. Don't know what that is. And then Sigismund is Mittenland. Oh, he's got some big problems in Mittenland. This is like Ulrich is kind of the god here. Does that say? No. And Ostermark, that's kind of Ulrich as well. Ostermark is there. And then you've got Kislev, which is one of the factions they're going to be releasing later, apparently. Which is good, because they've got plenty of stuff going on for them, so... Yeah, when the Empire Army book comes out, I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, to be honest, because it's supposed to be pretty flexible, so it'll be interesting to see if they add anything. Like, I'm not sure there's really anything missing, apart from an Imperial Dragon. What else are they missing from the last? No. They could bring in some Stormcast Eternals. I didn't say that. Anyway. We've not sold enough of them. Now, I'm dreading that now. Anyway, hopefully the Empire Army book isn't going to be for a while, so we don't have to worry about that. But I'd imagine the Empire Army book, they'll do something. I mean, it pretty much leans into cannons and artillery already, so it's difficult to see which way they'll take it, really. Like, they might give you, like, a dedicated, like, cavalry army, but I think they've already done that, haven't they? Like, in terms of the flexibility they've given you. Like, it's already there. Oh no, Empire Knights you can take as core. So you can take Empire Knights as core. You can then take a unit of Inner Circle Knights to stick your Grandmaster in. You can then take a load of Demigriff Knights because they're amazing. And then that's it, really. You know, you can take... maybe they'll do something a bit more sort of flagellant-y, like a War of Faith sort of thing. Because there's not really anything you can... I mean, you could take a load of Free Company militia, you know, flagellants becoming special, war altars and stuff like that. So they could do that, really. That's an option. But yeah, I don't think there's much else they can do, really. So I suppose like an army of faith. Because actually they've nodded towards that, haven't they? Because you've said in Reichland. In fact, I think they've already told us, haven't they? What they're going to do. It's going to be these four things. Did they do that with Khemri, actually? Khemri, just Khemri, Qatar, nothing happening there. Cavalry and charioteers in Bagar, Jantry, Tomb Fleets, King Par. Since his resurrection, so he doesn't like Cetra, Racetra. Loyal but distant. Asaf, Libaras, Asaf. Yeah, archers. So this is actually where I'm not sure, actually. Anyway, I need to start doing some lore videos, really. That's, I think, what I'm going to do next is do like a lore video and then like write some lists that kind of match up with the lore, but are also pretty competitive. So like that combination of like something characterful. But so that's probably what I'm going to start doing next. I'm definitely going to start off with vampires and go through a load of like vampire lore and like where we're up to in terms of, because I need to get on top of that as well, because I don't know. There's loads of stuff in the Border Princes. Actually, maybe that might be a bit more instructive, because there's loads of these shields already in the Border Princes. They haven't actually got the Crusade going down here yet, from the looks of things. But that's not to say there isn't a Crusade on the way. But anyway, so they've said like Cult of Sigmar here, so maybe that means they are going to do that. Wealthy, vast armies, yeah, so that's pretty standard. Sigismund, ruled by Sigismund Ulrich, just enjoys close ties with Ostermark, because they both worship Ulrich, basically, so they've got like a Talabek. Numerous witches, warlocks, and secretive guilds. So that's going to be the other faction, isn't it? That's going to be the other sub-faction for them. Witches, warlocks, and secretive guilds. Witches. Ooh. Empire witches. Huh. And warlocks. And like weird cults. That's going to be interesting. Oh, that sounds really good. I'm going to hold off Empire, actually. I was thinking about buying a load of cannons and steam tanks and stuff, but that is right up my alley for some reason. Anyway, on that terrifying disappointment, I'm going to end this video here. It's about an hour long, but I hope you've enjoyed. If you've got this far and you're not a subscriber, I hope I've earned a subscription to the channel. So please click on that particular button. And if you've liked the video, then please do that as well. And if you want to talk to me, make a thing in the comments. I do at this stage respond to everything, because I have not that many subscribers, so it's pretty easy. So yeah, I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you again soon. Toodle pip.